What do you think are the, what are you seeing in initial trends with iPad publishing and specifically focus on iPad publishing right now?
Yeah,
very quickly.
I mean, I think what's been most interesting is now that the traditional publishing industry is starting to get involved and is starting to learn and integrate. And some of the most exciting things are happening between that right now, traditional publishing and the kind of the interactivity that comes with the iPad.
The bits that I'm most interested in are things that look at two-screen experiences, where something like 2/3 of audiences, when they're watching TV, this is a stat from the UK and also from the US, 2/3 of audiences are now watching with another device, either a smartphone, an iPad, or a laptop while watching television. So anything that takes advantage of that, that enhances the viewing experience and gets people to talk about their shows is something I'm interested in.
Great.
It's still... Yeah, it's still early days, I guess, for the iPad. I think there's, the killer apps aren't really out yet, Flipboard, and I think you're going to show a few things which get close to that. But yeah, co-viewing is really big, and I think the iPad sort of changes the environment in which you use it in.
I think that what is interesting is that some dedicated apps are starting to appear for the iPad. I mean, not things which have been translated for the iPad. And so this is typically what I'm tracking, things that are bringing it as a new screen which has no relation to others.
I think one of the key things you've got to think about the iPad is the space it's trying to enter, which is this digital paper. And it's this idea of publishing, and it's replacing the magazine and the thing that you sit on your couch
and new read. Desktop publishing 3.0 kind of
exactly.
Thing.
More so than the CD-ROM kind of replacement. The most exciting stuff, I mean, alongside the stuff that it's already doing, like a giant iPhone, so the locative media, alongside the fact it's a good games platform.
There are a lot of new features that these tablets are going to give us. Touch is one of the big things, obviously, right? And augmented reality or tilt and sharing is a big thing.
Quite a few people are sort of entering the space of like, how do you check into TV shows or magazines and films and all sorts of things. And MISO is a Google venture-backed company based out in the States, and they've got one where it's quite nicely sort of graphically represented. So, you're sitting there and you can search for TV shows, but if you're watching Glee, you sort of click in, it tells you who else is watching it at the moment, so it has a kind of nice discovery way of sort of socially interacting with other people who are into the same content. And obviously, a bit like Foursquare, you can check in, you can pick specific episodes, and you earn points for checking into that show. And the thing that MISO are doing is they're partnering with content providers, producers and broadcasters, so they can provide exclusive content to people who are super fans, essentially. And this provides a massive, great marketing platform for broadcasters and producers who want to extend their brand.
Does MISO cost anything?
No, it's a free app.
And how do they make money?
Well, I think probably they're not.
Ad sharing by the...
about this.
Yeah, they're thinking about it. I think
Who makes MISO? Who makes MISO? It's an American company?
New York company.
Yeah, it's a new company. Yeah,
right.
just okay.
But you can join the dots between the Google TV announcements of recent time, the fact that they're saying that your phone is going to control your TV, and then a Google-backed company like that with the EPG system.
Sort of natural.
And you can see how that kind of sphere is all joining together.
I just want the panelists, the expert panel, to maybe make a very short one-sentence conclusions about where this medium is going to go. How will the next coming tablets, are they going to add new features, or is it just going to be like iPad? And what should broadcasters and producers think about for the next 6 months? One sentence.
All of that answer. In one sentence.
Pick and choose your question. Daniel.
Okay, well, just so to update people on the kind of upcoming tablets, I think Google and Android, they've really done something very powerful. Speaking the underlying kind of conversations with developers, they're very, very excited by Android. And I think the next year will show. We will
have an Android showcase
of iPad being the dominant force.
Right.
My bit would be taking inspiration from some of the beautiful stuff that's being done out there by publishers and games developers and things like that, and looking what we can do with program brands and TV shows that audiences feel a huge amount of love and passion for, and how we can do stuff, we being the wider production sector and wider broadcasting sector, we can do stuff that is excellent and executed incredibly well to compete with other publishers and other games makers.
I guess for me, the tablet devices are, and we didn't really cover a lot of that today, but the productivity side
We will
of
cover
it
soon.
is
Productivity.
really up and coming, and it's kind of it's using these devices to make things, and I think that's where it gets really interesting because it's relatively cheap as a visual controller.
You think it's a PC killer, laptop killer?
It's a laptop killer.
How many
absolutely,
people
yeah.
believe that? Is
Yeah.
iPad a laptop killer? 30%. No, I don't agree either, actually.
No, the tablet will wipe out the laptop.
But,
It's
you know, I'm
there's
not-
no doubt about that.
Huh? Tablet will wipe out
Absolutely,
PC?
absolutely.
When?
yeah.
How
Put a
long?
bet on that.
Within the next 5 years, definitely. yeah.
5 years.
I'll bet
mean,
you
the
a tenner
laptop-
that that's not true.
No, the laptop killed the PC, and the tablet's going to do it to the laptop.
I would say
definitely.
when we come back next year, I don't know, random number plucked out of the air, 50% of all the stands will be using iPads to show their work.
I think when you see the visual controllers that DJs are using these things for now as well, and they're like £1,000 cheaper than the normal DJ visual controllers, and it just makes everything so much more easier to get hold of, and it's multi-purpose. And when people start editing on this and using it as a vision mixer, it will revolutionise the broadcasting industry again, and that's the exciting stuff to come.
I think, can I just add one more thing, and it's also about accessibility. So people with motor issues or sight or any type of issue that they have, which using a normal laptop is really, really difficult for them, and incredibly expensive software. There's really cheap software you can put on an iPad, and people with disabilities are able to use it. It's amazing.
Right.
There's a
And
great
Patrice?
YouTube video.
Which one?
Well, have a search for it, and there's a 91-year-old lady, I think she is, who hasn't read for 20 years or something. And
It's
they buy
really-
her an iPad, and it just changes her life.
Next 2 years are the years where we may see some people forgetting that it needs a specific space in the market, not as a PC, not as a big iPhone, something brand new. But to do this, it deserves decent applications that are definitely taking advantage of the form factor.
So don't just make a website app
No.
into an iPad, right? Because you can always sign on to. I mean, web is perfect on iPad, on iPhone and iPad.
Yeah,
Why you say
if you
that?
forget some compatibility
Yeah,
issues,
that's true.
but
Okay. But I mean, it's not just not worth the money to do a whole app if you can do it on the web.
yeah, this is why
But
apps are important.
if you can interact with it and engage people with it,
And if you want to
it
charge
could-
people for it.
If you can charge people for it, if you want to extend your show and charge people and keep the audiences sticky, then it sounds like it's perfect. But make sure you're adding value, right?